This thing on. Hello. 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 Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? 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 Shut. I took a break, made a sandwich, laid on my back, played some chess, kicked some ass in chess. I'm hovering around 1250 right now. 1250. I jumped up to 1300, high 1300s. I make too many errors. I'm trying to learn how to play quickly, but also well. And stubbornly, I'm trying to teach myself. So, I had a good little end game there. Some pawn moves. Trying to decide how the game's going to end up, and then put your bet on the right pawn chain. Outmaneuver your opponent. Once by the end game, you find out whether you prioritize the right position, whose pawns are in an advantageous position. It was a good game. What is my score now? My score right now is 1263 plus whatever. I'm probably high 1200s. Every year I go up about 100. This year I should probably. No, I'm going to try to speed up. Let me see if I could jump. I could jump up to like 1700 this year. But that means I might have to read some chess books. But we don't have time. This was supposed to be a lifelong skill, but here we go. There is the chess. What does it say? I can't even read it. It's not even in focus. It won't even focus on it. Anyways, the 1663. Actually, I don't know if I'll say this again, so let me actually look at my real score. My real score is 1271. What did I say? 1263. It is 1271. So a year from now, Shaz, let us set a goal. A year from now, when we review these videos, let's try to have that chess score up to at least 1600. That means I'm going to have to jump up like 400. That'll put me in the top 80, 90th percentile. Right now I'm in the top 70th percentile. Maybe I don't think I can learn those lessons on my own. Maybe I can. Chess is complicated. It gets complicated. Those higher levels, especially all of these are 5-minute games. You don't have 15 minutes to move. You have to actually think quickly, calculate quickly, be familiar with patterns. There we go. Focus, Shaz. Focus. What are we at? This one's supposed to be best to do it. The last one was a 6-4 logo. But I was speaking of, changing my name, all those stories. I start talking, and it's like, what am I going to talk about? And then I come up with a story, and then I start rambling, and then I look at the time, and the time's almost done. We have to, I wanted to use this hour to slowly talk the things that I did between, to make my way back to Thompson Street across from Carbone. That was a really cool little apartment. The little sexual education things that I did, people I ran into. I think I counted this last couple of years. When I was brokering is when I got most of my experience. Well, because I was back in society proper. Us who are on the outside, it's like, if you don't buy into the dominant narrative, dominant culture, fucking your hippie chicks, your alternative, emo, whatever you call it, counterculture people, but other than that, we're not getting that fat middle of society like everyone else is. So now that I'm back in society and I'm successful, and I'm living in a cool place and I'm doing a cool job, I know about the city, but I still have the presence, the coolness of my alternative lifestyle and my alternative things that I like. I'm able to actually have more success. Not the most success, but I was working on it. More success. I think the Dancer Girl and my last couple encounters with women kind of were like higher end. These are harder girls to get, very desirable girls. Is it a competition? Nah, it's not about that. Because then you're not gonna you like love isn't a competition. So if you're treating love like a competition, you're going to have a low ceiling. Love is an exploration and a partnership, and that's how you can get the higher quality women. It's not higher quality in the sense that you're competing or that they're better than other people. It's in the sense that you can have a deeper connection. So when I say higher quality, I'm not trying to objectify or put people in rankings. That's what like the 10 and all that stuff. No, there's higher quality women sometimes aren't conventionally beautiful. But you can it's like that quote that I think of sometimes. For every beautiful girl, there's a guy who's tired of fucking her. Beauty only goes so far, it fades. Even cleverness only goes so far. Billy Joel says, I don't want clever conversation. I never want to work that hard. Ooh, I just want someone I can talk to. I want you just the way you are. Do 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 do. And that man, I mean, if anyone knows about love, is Billy Joel. Helped millions of people fall in love, fell in love. Beautiful women, models, normal women, I'm sure. Passionate man. He's the artist who lives their art. Successful artist. Put out as good a music as you could put out as an artist. As sincere an artist as you can be. And he had his loves and his passions. Beauty fades, cleverness fades, all that other stuff, but that communication, that connection, that's the high quality partner is the one who has learned how to love, make themselves vulnerable, how to have that good intimate sex, as well as the other stuff. You don't want to have your hang-ups. There's fast food, and then there's sit down to a meal, but nutrition, sex like nutrition, physical nature, conversation. My last couple, like the dancer girl, we never really had a fight. We had a fight because we were playing that game where like we were so free spirited that she would be with people. We're just both young, I think. She was 29 when I met her, 28. Still playing. You get to New York and it's like a fucking, especially if you have a spirit like that, you could have whoever. She's just running around seeing who she could get. She's playing games with guys. It's like if you just move to the island, the Caribbean, and you're like, oh shit, the fucking all these tourist girls. And like the girls are telling me, they're like, you guys are stupid. You act like you're a fucking kid in a candy store down here. Because yeah, like there's a boat full of girls that just showed up and they're all like single, ready to party. So the fucking guys, like their jaws drop to the floor. They're like, what? It's like, yeah, you need a year or two to get that out of your system. So I think the dancer girl, she's deciding now she wants to stay in New York. I just texted her recently. I told her I want to visit her. I don't know to rekindle anything, but hopefully soon just go say what's up. Keep these people in my life. Develop our friendship. But yeah, when we were dating, we didn't really fight, but I had sex with her one day and then had sex with like a neighbor the fucking same day, and that was rude. And she didn't even get mad at that, but she's like she's Mexican, she's Latina, and so she came home drunk. She doesn't drink that much, but when you get tipsy, your passions get the best of you. And she came home and she fucking laid it into me, and she was gonna run down the fucking hallway and beat her ass. She was like, I'm gonna fuck. And I was like, don't. Well, no, I didn't tell her. She was like, did you fuck her? Did you fuck her? And I was like, no. I believe in honesty, but I also believe in tactfulness. And the next day, I had a conversation with her, and that was the beginning of the end, or that was the middle of the end, or the end of the end. The end of the end, the nail in the coffin for me, and the thing that we'd have to overcome if we were going to develop a relationship again, is that we got together on 4th of July. And so a year following, even though we were on again, off again, playing these games, be with each other, but then she was tempted. And New York tempts you. And then I was tempted too. I didn't leave my apartment much. I was just staying in the village this whole last year until I got evicted. But the neighbor girl was a temptation. She came back from Paris to clean out her apartment, and we passed each other in the hall, and it was just one of those. She's like 37, 38, a year or two older than me. But once you've like ridden the energy long enough in life, you don't need much to kind of know the door's open. I just passed her in the hall. We kind of caught eyes. I was kind of like, I think me and neighbor would get down. And then like we hung out for like a week, coming over, killing bottles of wine, talking. So I wasn't looking, but something crosses my path. But like dancer girls, like what am I gonna do? I know a girl like that, it's weird. I'm still learning this. If I committed to her, maybe she would have committed to me. But in the past, maybe I'm a little bit sensitive to this, committing to girls who aren't willing to commit to you. She's dancing in her ballet company. She's dancing, teaching people salsa. And then also sometimes she strips in Jersey. So she's dancing in every sense of the form. So I know in her life, I'm not jealous. I've outgrown that shit. So, but I can't police her, and I know her energy. So I know there's 20 dudes trying to get with her at any given time. So until I see that she's ready to commit to me, I know that some night she doesn't stay here because she's fallen for some bullshit. Also, she's not the smartest about that shit. She fell for some really stupid bullshit. Some of these guys in New York just have some stupid games. Some guy claimed that he was gonna open up a dance studio for her. It's like, dude, you don't fuck a dude just because he's blowing smoke up your ass. Like, because the guys are just like fucking the biggest talkers in New York. Donald Trump comes from New York. And you just gotta slow your roll and qualify everything. It's fucking. So I try not to be that broker. I try not to be the bullshit person. I try to be. When I first started, that's what it is. That's all you have when you have nothing else. When you're not good at what you do, all you have is bullshit, whether approaching women or business. And then you hopefully get some experience under your belt, and you start to fucking be able to back up everything you say. That's what I'm doing this year. I know that's brought success in my life, business, and love. So I'm trying to correct my word. If I want to do big, important things in a faster timeline, I need to get that word tighter. And that's all I've told my folks while I'm here, and all I'm doing this for is to correct my word and then live by it. But there is a lot of correction to be done. But so I was revering because I was like, in this blog I'm gonna do, I was like, I wanted to go over all my experiences and then this way forward, so that way if I do settle into a lifelong partner or something, it's like I'm doing it in an open, transparent way. Just Shaz the artist, Shaz the writer will be Shaz the transparently living person, radical honesty, social on my arm. And so I was like, beginning of the year I was kind of thinking about that, writing out like the list of people I'd been with and stuff, and just to try to visualize it. It's not a number that is unmanageable. I could actually go over still and like remember all these interactions. Once it gets too big, it becomes unmanageable. I know people like that. They're like, I couldn't even fucking, or maybe they don't want to. There's too many regrettable instances. I still have I have some, nothing's regrettable, but I have some silly things, but most of them are sincere connections. That whole like, if I'm going to share myself with someone, think about like whether I would have a kid with this person. Even if it was a really tenuous, there's maybe like a handful of connections that like I wouldn't have actually dated them. Even like the brief encounters, there's something there or else we wouldn't have done it. Because otherwise it's just kind of sad sex. It just doesn't, it's very lonely. It's a lot lonelier to be with someone that you don't connect with than to be by yourself. There's a loneliness of being alone in life, and then there's a loneliness of sharing a bed with someone who doesn't understand you, or you don't have a connection with someone who you feel you don't respect and they don't respect you. It's a completely different loneliness, because that's a loneliness where it's like, wow, I have a body here and it's not enough. Because that's the loneliness where you start to doubt your own self-worth. Like, it's not just that no one will love me, it's that, well, no, it's just that. It's like, maybe it's me. It's a weird, that's what in your life, when like people challenge you or life challenges you, or standing up for yourself, standing up for your principles, your values, this and that, love and business, all that stuff reaffirms your story and your values. And then that's your strength, and you're feeding into your esteem and your garden. So whenever you sacrifice that, whether it's because you're horny or whatever, in my life I've tried to avoid doing that. I'm stubborn enough that I've turned down sex, or just acted dumb. Maybe I don't turn it down as much as I should, or like I'm still, well, you know what, sex is sex. But my mouth usually, or my own way of not being able to help being who I am, usually edits those people out of my life real quick. So let's discuss a couple of those. So I was in that hostel, and then yeah, where that guy that oh, that girl was I was in that one hostel with that one British girl. Then we went to California, and then she took off, and then I went to the other hostel. I came back, went to the other hostel, made friends with some really cool people. Some those are some cool stories. So that hostel where that big guy threw that one kid against the wall and then threw him out. Before that big guy came, the reason why that big guy came is so I went to that hostel. It was in Brighton Beach, and I'm working at Hecht Group now, 57th and Lexington, I think, or 59th and Lexington. Probably 59th, I think. No, 57th. It was a couple of blocks below the train there. And yeah, and I remember like being in that office till 10, 11, building ads or just fucking trying to building market analyses. I should talk about that too. I'll start there and I'll make my way back to the living situation and then the experiences with women. And we're trying to walk our way to what I do. I did two today. How many did I do? The last one was the 6-4 logo, so this is best to do it. So we're gonna walk our way past through. Yeah, I did the name change form. I should speak on all these. We'll figure it out. All these stories are gonna cover all this eventually. I just lost my train of thought. The yeah, I took a break. I did 2 hours and then I took a nice little half an hour break, ate a sandwich, just laid on my back. That's like there's certain positions that you don't feel pain. And like so sometimes it's very tempting just to lay in that position. It kind of is painful too. That's why I'm leaning on the table. And then when I lean back, shifting. But this is good because it's pain, but either I'm getting used to it or it's a little bit letting up. But I think it might actually be like 2 weeks I could start working out again. I don't know how long until I could actually hit the lower back directly. But 2 weeks I might be able to actually hit the gym and then I'll just do core strengthening exercises and I'll do certain back stuff and I'll just try to immobilize the lower back as best I can while I work around it. And then maybe it'll be like a full month or something before I actually do deadlifts again. We'll figure it out. ED isn't the worst thing. Yeah. It's gonna be this what this is lingering. This is where weed. I told my mom this morning. I was like, I just want some fucking weed, really. Just some nice body high would be fucking beautiful right now. That type of weed where you feel like you're just getting a body massage. And it also lowers inflammation. As soon as I get out of here with some money, I'm gonna get some really fucking nice indica, some deep fucking Gorilla Glue type, just like in the couch, get glued. That's why you call it Gorilla Glue. Some fucking heavy hidden kush, some nice kush, some fucking red, fucking haired, purple, powdery, crystally weed. I love weed. All right. So I'm in that. We talk about the living situation, and then I'm going to talk about the girl situation. And then that's going to lead me to the how I was conducting my business at that time. So I am in that hostel. That British girl, I'd hooked up with her at that one hostel, met that Russian landlady, threw that guy out for her. She fucking knew I was good people. She would give me some credit every now and then, but I'd always followed my word and paid her back. And then so she, British girl, went back home. We had a whirlwind romance. It was fucking beautiful. It was cute. Actually, one night we had like a little honeymoon. Once we started hooking up, we're hooking up in this hostel, and we go in the bathroom, and then we have sex in the bathroom. I have this video of me lifting her up, and just like, it was just great. And she came quick, and so we were just like, all we need is like 5 minutes in the bathroom, and we just fucking fuck like little monkeys. She was like a little monkey. She just clasped onto me, and she's super horny too. We both were like really driven. So we had this honeymoon where we rented our own Airbnb separate, so we didn't have to just fuck in the shower standing up all the time. And she put on like stockings and pig ponytails and did like some fucking, it's like the type of shit where like as a guy you're trying to become a better lover, and it's like it's really hard for me to delay orgasm with this much fucking shit going on. It was interesting. I'm not into like putting too much effort into shit role playing and stuff. But like she could be very sexy when she wanted to. She's a very, that's what girls, some girls mature faster than some guys. She was young, but her and I were, yeah, I'd only been with like maybe 8 people by then, 7 people. I was still learning. Like I had my relationships, but now this was like, there's one thing to have relationship experience, learning how to love someone and commit to them. And then the other one is just getting time in the sack under your belt. Because even if you have like sex for a year or two with the same person, sex with 5 different people is completely different. Because one person might have had some things they like and some things they don't. In Puerto Rico was my first experience. Some girl wanted me to choke her. I was like, I'm not really, that's not my, I'm not that, oh, okay though, but I guess this is cool. I didn't want that to become my thing, so I didn't like doing it too much, but she was the freakiest girl I'd been with up to then. So it was like, that was the one where the local kid, he was like, everyone knew her because they saw it from when she got off the boat. She was hanging out for like a month on that island, not maybe 2 weeks, but everyone was after her. I was the second dude. One dude got with her, but he was kind of a dick. So I jumped right in there and then fucking locked her down. He was like, you eating filet mignon? Damn, that's a high quality girl right there. He was fucking, that's the type of dude. He had all the, I couldn't even talk like him. He was fucking crazy ass dude. He could talk to you for a half hour and you don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But they were doing the thing, and then they dropped the thing. And so they came around. But we ain't talking about that one thing. Because there's that one thing. And so them over there know what's going on. Because it's going on. And that's why they're doing what they do. You fucking half an hour with that shit. You don't know what the fuck he's talking about. You won't know what the fuck he's talking about. So yeah, so New York, and then like that British girl was like, okay, Shaz is fucking, because that was my first like making real estate money and then spending it in order to fucking like that's what it was after Occupy Wall Street. I was like, fuck the politics, fuck everything. I'm just gonna be a normal, I'm gonna be a real boy. Fucking Pinocchio Shaz is tired of being a puppet of my artistic and political ambitions. I'm gonna fucking just go to do what everyone else is doing. So, I mean, I was still reading. I always have books. And I kept it alive a little bit. And then I went to that hostel. The reason why that hostel is important is because of some street shit. So I'm in that hostel. We don't have the big guy yet. So we have a bunch of like 15 people in there. We had a fucking kid from like, was it North Ireland or some shit? There's fucking like terrorists in North Ireland or something. He wasn't from there, but like we had sketchy people. Like he would watch those videos. We'd be like, he'd be in his fucking bunk. We had bunk beds. So the room I slept in, there were 6 bunk beds, and that was just one room. Another room had 4 bunk beds. And then downstairs there were 3 more rooms. So that was like 12 people at least in one room. So it was like easily it could get over 20, 30. Like she knew the cops, and she knew, so she wasn't getting shut down, but that shit was not fucking code. And I didn't care. It's $25 a night. And when I was in between paychecks, she let me go like a week with credit, cause we had a thing. Oh, I also, when Airbnb, I called them and told them what happened too, so she wouldn't get in trouble. I was like, this dude exposed himself. I had to throw him out. It's not the landlady's fault. My real estate agent gave me my info. I'm a real person. Fucking, so she didn't get in trouble and she didn't have to give that guy back the money. So I went about, and I gave her a good review. So I try to, that's what it is. It's like, you don't bullshit people. I just support her business. Like, I was like, yeah, that was, if I overstepped, I had to make a judgment call. I'm sorry, I support your business, and I'm a straight up dude. So she lets me go into her fucking speakeasy one that she doesn't advertise. But that's these longer, like it's basically like people passing through New York, and you don't know people, you find people like this, and then you end up in places like this. But they're a little rowdy, so since they're not technically legal, you have, what I learned later, at first naive Shaz is like, oh, everyone's just trying to make it like me. I fucking meet a guy who's he's from a good family in like Georgia or something. I knew a kid from Georgia when I first got out of the army. Georgia's a very interesting country. Ex-Soviet Republic country, I think. Or ex-communist bloc, whatever the fuck. It's over there. By Russia. Russian border. And this kid was he was working at like a Greek place fucking as a waiter, and I'm telling people my advice because I'm up and coming with my business. I'm like, you just need to do this or that. You need to get in sales, and then you'll double up. And but I'm thinking everyone could do what I could do, and then you start to realize, oh, maybe I have a gift or potential if But I approach life I used to, that everyone could do what I could do, and then I've started to realize that, well, what are my talents? What are my specialties? And that's why I stopped doing real estate. I thought I'm above it. I thought I'm better than this was good, but a lot of this was a reaction to my protest days, and I just jumped into the first thing. But if I apply my brain and my talents like I did to this, to the writing and the publishing, then I think I could. I think I could get to media. I think I can be a. I think I could start a startup. When you meet like I meet venture capital guys or other people, and I'm trying to figure out my worth. Figuring out your worth if you're an inherently humble person is kind of hard in this world of manipulation and predation, because everyone wants to take advantage of you. Everyone wants to claim that your worth is serving their goal and their agenda. So you have to start. That's this whole year, is learning whose hooks are in me still, mentally. What are my beliefs, my assumptions, my values? Checking all my friends, checking all my family. Just doing an energy audit. Who is exacting energy from Shaz? But so yeah, back then a little bit naive, just talking, hey, but at the same time street smart, just street. I had this weird mix of street smart, but like naive optimism, which both got me into and got me out of trouble. So like, because everyone's chill with me, I'm usually like try to stay chill with people, and I don't fucking trip those red lines. I acknowledge people and what they believe quickly and fit within their values, and I find the good, and that's it. And then if I find stuff that we disagree with, the ones who are suicidal, or I think they're on one and they're looking for they're bruising for a cruising or whatever, playing big boy games, I just stay the fuck out of their way. It's just I don't got life will teach them anything I can. I don't got to fucking tell them what life is going to show them. So I'm in that place, and of course there's a couple hotheads, but there's a couple girls. So a couple girls followed over from the other place too. Not my British girl, she left, but the one who worked for Pitchfork, who we settled into a friendship, but I think I ruined the romantic thing because of my mouth and being inquisitive about her past that she didn't want to share. And then the fucking Azerbaijani girl. So we got like a crew, us three. And then there's this girl who comes from India. Indian girls are crazy. She's beautiful. She's a fucking little princess. She claims she's a virgin, maybe. And this other dude, she loves my Sacramento guy. And Sacramento guy had that job where he was tutoring. Yeah, so we had like a crew of 4 or 5 people. We all had like a Thanksgiving once, a Friendsgiving or something. Or most of us did, I think. So we were like, for a little bit, that was my life. I was working real estate, but I was coming back for the Hostel Homies. That's how I saved him on my phone, Hostel Homies. And the Indian girl, I think she was into me, but she was way more into the Sacramento guy. I wasn't, because he was like a white boy, and for some reason she was into white boys. Sometimes girls get that fever. And he was cool. He was like, he had like, he was intelligent, but he had that street smart because he grew up in neighborhoods like I grew up in, on the border between good and bad. So fucking, he just a fast talking dude. He was with a decent car, but he was like he has a physics major, and he was tutoring this kid. He had this dorky side too. He was an interesting guy. That's why, and so yeah, I wish I kept in contact. Maybe I could find him in my emails or something. He drove like a maniac. I remember I drove in his car. I was like, dude, this isn't California. He was like, don't even. Yeah, exactly. I can drive better than all these assholes. He was fucking dipping in and out, and like, that is true. Like, New York traffic is aggressive, but if you're used to driving in like San Francisco to LA, like this is car culture. Like over there, aggressive driving is one thing, but like, I think he had an Acura SRX or some shit like that. Whatever those fucking. But you were in that hostel, and that Indian girl liked him, and she was like she was over here to do something. Oh, law. I think she was supposed to get her law degree. So she's from India, but from a good family. She came out here for school. Now she failed the bar, and she was trying to pass the bar again. But if she failed it this time, then she'd either have to go back home or some shit. It was some tragic story. So she was in the hostel temporarily. I don't know how these people find this hostel, because I found it off of Craigslist, and then referred from her upfront one to the shady one. So all these other people, the girls, that's what the girls did. We all got referred from the upfront one to the shady one, because this lady's growing her business. She's figuring out how to do it. So she's like, yeah, so she opened up, she got so much overflow. She kept the upfront one for the casual tours. And then those of us who were staying longer term, she put us in a house. So she must have, this is all I think new for her. Yeah, Airbnb is blowing all this shit up. But this is like, since there's so many people, this one is for people that she's vetted already. We had these Arabic guys who came by, and at one point, the room that I was sleeping in, there was the one with like the six bunk beds. They fucking there's like four or six of them, so they took up half that room themselves, and then it was me and a couple dudes, and then there was a girls' room, of course, and stuff. No mixed rooms there. Um, they locked us all out, and we swore that they were building bombs in there. It's horrible to say. You don't want to stereotype people and shit. But they were all fucking thick Arabic accents, all fucking tight knit. They didn't talk to anyone. And there was one day where we came and the doors locked, and someone told me the Irish kid was cool. We became friends, but more about him later. But he was like, yeah, no, they're fucking building bombs or some shit in there. I wouldn't go in there. And the fucking doors locked. It's like, you don't do that. Like, this is communal space. You don't have like, it was like, whatever. They never talked to anyone. They were kept to themselves anyways. But there was this one day they had a powwow and they locked the door and we couldn't go in there for like hours. It was like, all right, they're figuring their shit out. That's what that Georgian kid, it was like internationals. There was a bunch of fucking weird shit going on. The Irish kid was cool. He was tall and lanky, and he was working construction. I think there's a lot of Irish in New York. So half the people who came through there didn't have papers. Probably they figured out a way to get to New York without papers or whatever. And then this is the type of place you stay at because you don't have shit. You just have cash, and you only even have cash enough to get a $500 room. So you have to pay $750 on a $25 a night basis for fucking all this shared shit. But like the vibe is cool. We're keeping the vibe. I try to keep the vibe too. We just like, and that's the thing too. So there's this well, I want to back to the story with this Indian girl. So so I thought me and her, whatever, but she was into the white dude and he was my homie, but he had that Russian girl that he married. He married her. She eventually came from Russia. So he was in Russia, in Moscow, visiting her. And then he got that job tutoring that guy's son. So he came back to do that. And then eventually, like a year later, his girlfriend came in. I lived with him a little bit later on for like a month or two in the apartment he eventually got an apartment. He moved on up. That's what it is. These hostels. This is an American dream, supposedly. Yeah, I mean, it's still out there. It's just as hard, and we're not providing a decent safety net. But this is how I came up. Went there, slept in Central Park, and then I found these hostels, $25 a night. But this is the environment in which you come up until you get those. Until I finally, from here, you get a room because the hostel is just $25 a night. But if you have no if you have no savings, that's all you could do, commission to commission. Then eventually I got a room for a month, 3 months, this and that, until finally this kid wanted to be my roommate because his roommate fell through. And he qualified for the lease on his own, and that's how I got around that. It took me a couple years before I cleaned up my credit. Until I got my apartment in my name, it was about like 4 years, 3 years. But I got out of the hostel situation after a year or two. About a year. I never was really in there. Like after a couple months, I'd get a room, and then if I was in between rooms, I'd come back to the hostel. I kept her on my phone for a minute. Even after a couple of years when I was in between. No, after a couple of years I tried this other hostel on McKibben, around the McKibben Lofts, which is a whole nother, I got bed bugs from that place. That's a whole nother story. And that was where I fucking ran into that girl who was a playwright. But yeah, we're talking about this ghetto one because this was life lessons. So the hostel homies, you had Indian girl, you had the white guy who was like, he was always trying to fuck her and she liked him, but she wanted to date him. And she claimed that she was a virgin. And so, and then there's this other girl, so we had a crew of like 5 or 6 people. So there was this girl who was an ex-meth addict. You could just, her teeth, like, you couldn't help but mention that because, like, I have to mention it because it's very relevant. She was cute, she's tall, skinny white girl with an amazing skinny white girl with big boobs. So and she was a topless bartender at some fucking sex club in Manhattan, in Midtown. Those are the types of people. It's like all of our lives are fucking crazy. I'm a broker, but like fucking, that's what I'm like doing, the broker and by day, but by night I'm around this fucking crazy crew. But you could tell she had a past because like the meth mouth, like she didn't. It takes money to fix all that shit. So she always talked like this with the mouth kind of closed, and she was kind of like a little beat up in the face because she lived a hard life. But she was in her late 20s, and fucking a very cute body, and she was. But it's not even about objectifying people. I'm describing the context like you would a character. But I still have her on my phone. Out of all the people, she's the only one I stay in contact with because, I mean, she was kind of crushing on me, but I was just like, you become friends with someone enough. I'm like, I wouldn't hook up with her just to hook up with her. But I kind of did once, and that was like a joke. But like she came from the streets of Boston, so she had that energy, and that's what I loved. You meet types of people in New York, and that Boston fucking like Southie or whatever the fuck it is. but she just was like a ride or die. She walked dogs, and she loved fucking rescued pit bulls, because that's what she was, a rescued pit bull. She fucking saved herself from her addiction and wore it as a badge of courage. And she took that Azerbaijani girl under her wing. And she was like, don't let these guys fuck with you. That's how she spoke. And she would clean the place, the hostel, for the lady, the Russian lady, for money. But she didn't take shit from no one. And I love that. She was like, so me and her vibed right away. It's just real shit. Like, just because, like, I just vibe with real people. Like, she'd be like, she starts her day when she's on her way to go to the city to start her dog walking with a joint. So shit like that is like, I fucking see her out smoking. I'm like, what's up? Can I jump on that? And of course, it's medicine. And people like that, it's like people. I have a story this year. I was in Soho. Just this whole year was my introspection of my life, and 35 minutes already. And I'm in Soho, and these kids are smoking. I'm walking back from court, one of these fucking court days with my landlord, probably April or May, probably one of the last days, probably May, where I'm just like, I'm not going back to court, fuck it. I'm getting evicted. I'm just not going to put any more effort into this. I'll get really lit before I go to court, just because I didn't fucking want to deal with it. Just like kind of float through the whole proceedings really slowly. I recorded the audio. I sound baked as fuck. I don't even know what the fuck's going on. But I'm just recording it and just trying to, for posterity, let people just get this whole thing down, and I'll think about it later. Right now I'm just observing. So I'm walking back. And back then I'm smoking a lot. For every couple hours I'm like, I want to come back up to that fucking high place. I'm reading a lot of Zen Buddhism, writing. I'm keeping my mind free roaming, just wandering. So I'm walking back home from the financial district. It's about a half an hour walk from the Civic Center, City Hall area to the Village. And I walk through Soho. And Soho is a nice part of Manhattan. Very nice shops. If people live there, you're living in like $1 million plus apartments, or you're renting $5,000 plus one bedrooms. $15,000, $20,000 lofts are there. That's where, like, when you fucking, I'm pretty sure I've seen basketball players over there. The fucking types of cars you see parked in the street all have like custom license plates and designer cars. That's where you're gonna catch like the fucking shit you would see in Dubai and stuff is parked on the streets of Soho. That's where like the models are doing their shoots. Me and the dancer girl were walking back from a little party down in Soho. Became a member of this fucking little underground party scene where like they did an appreciation thing I paid money into them to like help them throw their parties, and that real estate money. Just living that life before I decided to throw it away or like put it on pause or whatever the fuck I'm doing. Me and the dancer girl were walking back home, and she started singing in the streets of Soho. She started singing, I want to be where the people are. And then she stopped. I was like, no, do it. We were fucking, I know we took mushrooms. We weren't even high. We took mushrooms that night. We went to that party. It was like music, gongs. It was sound therapy. And there was this guy at the front, and there was just gongs, and everyone's laying on the ground just like fucking tripping the fuck out. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. So before we went, we both took like a couple grams of mushrooms and just like went there, laid on the ground, and fucking just like kind of laid on each other in puddles, just like with the sounds of gongs and like doo, 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 doo. And then you had like in the background or fucking sounds or whatever the fuck, aromas, and just no one had any shoes on. It was like just a loft in like Soho with like it was fucking funny. And we were walking back late at night, and the dancer was like, and we were still tripping. And I was like, no, sing. And she was like, she sang as much of the song as she remembered. It was really cute. Little Mexican immigrant. No, she has her citizenship, but still fucking grew up in Mexico, and just that's her spirit. She just wants to be a part of the dominant culture. That's the immigrant journey. Fuck getting to know yourself. Just try to blend in. That's my grandma's story. I guess so. I've dated my mother. I've dated my grandmother. Fucking the Jew who wanted to be a white girl, and who valued the whitest among her children and neglected the darkest. That's what my aunt says. I wasn't her little white girl, and so that's why it's stuff we project because of our own pain. In her case, it was survival. Her parents, Holocaust era, Hollywood, LA, Orange County. You fit in, you don't want to fucking... That's what racism does. It causes people to fucking hate themselves. But that's why reclaiming your identity, what I'm doing here, that's your strength. That's your foundation of your character. But anyways, Dancer Girl's like, I want to be where the people are. I want to be there laughing, dancing, walking along on those, what do you call it, feet. Da 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 da. And we're just fucking, it's like midnight in these cobblestone streets. She's just like, wish I could be da 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 part of the stuff you remember. So I'm walking back from all of these nested stories. So earlier this year, I'm walking back from. That's how you fall in love. You have those experiences, and you're just like, whether it's for a lifetime or just this moment, but this is what love is. Is this walking through a cobblestone street, singing a fucking song from your childhood that is more relevant than you can admit. And then so I'm walking through Soho after the eviction proceeding, whatever fucking court hearing, and these kids are smoking, and they're like, I could just size them up right away. Well, I'm on one this whole last year. I'm on one. That's how I speak right now too. I'm just fucking like even when I get this back injury, I'm like, all right, add this to my plate. What the fuck else? Life. That's why I was walking around the streets of Manhattan, sleeping on the streets sometime, talking to people. It was like, I got 2 bags and they're fucking, you could take them from me if you want. A fucking homeless guy steps to me. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're fucking, he wasn't homeless, that's what it was. He starts talking about the gun and this and that. He's like, you don't know me? I fucking dropped my bags. I was like, you don't want to fucking get to know me, dude. When I dropped my bags, you hear a chain in there clang. He fucking sat back down. I walked past him, he looked away. It was like I was just walking down the street today and a fucking big ass dog came running at me from a yard. I just looked at him. I'm just like, come on, dude. Fucking dog energy. I dealt with that shit in Puerto Rico. I know dog energy. Fucking bite me. I'll bite you back, you fucking dog. You're cool. I like dogs. I love dogs. I want to get dogs, but I'm a grown-ass man. You're a fucking dog. Fucking dogs know behavior and they know energy and they know facial recognition. They know. You gotta fucking sometimes tell a dog you're a dog. You're a fucking dog. I respect you, but you're a fucking dog. I like that, being able to just look at a barking dog and they get the picture and they just shut the fuck up. Not out of hate, I'm a fucking human, you're a fucking dog, come on. So these kids, I'm walking up Soho and they're like, nice tattoos. They're like 18, 20 maybe, if that. Fucking pencil line tattoos, thin with the feathering and the shading and shit like that. Like shit like British girl. Like this shit costs money. I have one tattoo, but I know people with many tattoos. The British girl is a tattoo artist actually. She was for a young girl. She had done a lot and she had a lot, and I hope she's happy. Maybe I run into her. Some of these girls in my life, if they don't want to fucking talk to me, then I probably deserve it. But yeah, and then like one of them had like fucking really nice braids, like really nice fucking cornrows or some shit. It was like one black girl or Spanish girl maybe, and then like 2 or 3 black guys. Maybe there's another Spanish guy, brown and black. I'm brown, whatever. And then so I'm walking back, and Shaz is on one this year. So I just like, but I don't hit him with fucking aggression. It's just this story came up because I was talking about the friend that I met from Boston. But that's the difference between strong fucking compassionate energy or strong self-assured energy and then strong fronting energy. Boston girl and I never ever got on each other's bad side. That's why she was into me, and that's why we fucking, it's like some people you meet and it's like, I've known you all my life. We're like just there, like when I needed herb or this or that. And hopefully she knows that's why I need to check in on her. People like this, you don't want to just be taking. When you're up, you want to go around your group and fucking make sure that everyone is up. And then not just money, just like when you have the time and space. I need like, Shaz needs a world tour to fucking, or at least a US tour to fucking hit up people who've been good to me and just check in on them. You good? And just spread the love, just even a hug and a couple days, just energy. And I appreciate you in my life, and I appreciate our stories and how they interconnected. Because you start to realize that like life is too complicated to keep everyone in your story the whole time. I'm living here, especially a person like me who's living everywhere. But when you have the time, that's another thing. What's important in life? Just making money and staying in real estate and fucking just on my grind, or people? So this whole year I've been checking in on people. I did it in New York. So I stayed with people that, because I was poor and they let me in, my friends, I was able to check in on them that way. A girl I stayed with in Brooklyn for a month. I'd fucking, she'd been in New York for like over a year by then, but we barely hung out. But me staying at her place for a month was time for us to work on our relationship. Me and Shaw, I stayed at her place for like a week, but we sorted some shit. Addie, I stayed at her place for a month, and we reaffirmed some of our bonds. So yeah, I need to check in on this Boston girl. I think she went back to Boston or some shit. She got out of New York. But the difference between me walking up to her outside the hostel and be like, "What's up? You smoking?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can I jump up on that?" Of course. It's medicine. Of course. Why wouldn't I share medicine? So a joint to me is plenty. I have more than enough to share. And even if I didn't, so have a hit or two, have a head change. It's how you check someone. Humility too. Is the strong can afford to be humble, right? So these kids they ain't feeling that. I saw the money fucking cornrows, the money tattoos, but I was like, whatever. So I jumped, but whatever. Maybe I looked aggressive. But I was like, they're smoking a blunt. And a blunt, come on, dude. Even among 4 people, a blunt is plenty of weed. It was a fat blunt. They were rolling it. They just lighted it. So I fucking kind of smiled. I slowed down. I was like, yo, what's up? You mind if I get in on that? Whatever. Get in on that. Get on that. Jump in on that. Can I smoke your weed, sir? And they just looked at me. And I think because I was a little high still, I just sat down with them on the stoop. You don't have stoops in Soho. This is a fancy ass fucking. This street only has nice fucking flagship stores on it. And so these kids either fucking live in the lofts around here, or they're homies. One of them is the rich one, and the rest of them are hanger-ons, or they're working in these stores trying to be a part of the culture. But either way, they're like, what would you call it? Like the scene kids, the fucking who wear all the fancy shit and stuff like that. They again fucking shop at like Supreme and shit. Yeah, they were there, those types of kids, exactly. So I sit down next to them. I'm like, yeah, I just, and there's a girl there, there's a female there, so I understand. So, and she was the one who was smoking, so that's the one I asked. And she was cute. She was the one with the cornrows, so I think she was like Latin or something. She had like a vibe to her, a very fucking like street fancy model type vibe. So I was like, yo, can I jump up on that? And then like one of the dudes, he and I just sit down next to them. And one of the dudes comes up to me and he's like, yo, you acting like you know us, dude, but we don't know you. And I'm like, what? I forgot exactly what I said. I remember this because I fucking told it to people, but I forgot. They just came at me like aggressive. And I was like, what? Dude, it's weed. And I always use that line, weed is medicine, dude. You don't want to share? He was like, we don't, but you acting like you know us, dude. And he's just repeating shit that sometimes, especially like young people, think that if you repeat shit, it means something. It's like, we don't know you, this and that. It's like, dude, fucking. I have a smile on my face until we change the conversation. You don't gotta fucking be stupid. You don't gotta be mean. You don't gotta. That's like how the world communicates. It's like fronting makes you look stupid. Fucking the fucking scariest people I know will be smiling all the way until you find out how scary they are because they are that confident in themselves. You fucking trying. I don't know. So he was like, we don't know. He was like, why don't you? Told me to fucking get out of there or something like that. I looked at him and fucking I felt myself. I don't have a temper, but I felt myself like a little bit like him telling me to leave is making me want to stay, and him fucking coming at me like this is making me want to come at him in a certain way. So I just checked myself and checked my energy, and I was like, I get it. I'm approaching you guys wrong, and that's your friend, the girl I met. And I was like, and maybe I'm disrespecting your friend by. So I started talking to the guy. I was like, okay, I'm talking to the girl, and maybe it's someone's girlfriend or maybe I just look like a dude who's just hitting on their friend. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'm disrespecting your friend. Maybe I'm coming at you guys wrong. And I said some shit on my way out, like, yeah, but fucking, I need to learn how to share. That's not how to treat people. I just kind of like scolded them, old man Shaz. But like, I took a minute to let him know that like that's not, it's not. I don't know. That's my little principle. Some dude gets fucking stabbed in the neck in the Bronx because he has his principle. These dudes weren't gonna fucking pull out a knife and stab me in Soho. They were they were just gonna fucking. He said some shit that you would hear on the internet, something like I don't know, terms of the youth nowadays. But what I took from that was the values of the youth nowadays. It's like, that ain't New York, dude. That's not life. Sitting on a stoop smoking a blunt, someone comes by, you share. That's just life. Life is about sharing. Sharing is caring. Santa Cruz, California, being at a bar and we're outside on the patio and someone's passing around the bowl. That's what, if you have it and you're up, everyone's up. So I could already fucking tell these kids, like, they just didn't grow up without, or else they would have been more compassionate. Those without usually are like the squats I lived in, the fucking hostel that I'm at now. So of course, so to tie it back to the Boston girl, completely opposite side of the spectrum. It's fucking, I grew up around meth, so I knew her story before she told me her story, just from her fucking, the scars on her body from her story. But also knew she was out of it from like just her character. She had a really awesome character. So whenever I caught her in the morning, we'd share a joint, we'd fucking bro out. And then she took some of the girls under her wing, the Azerbaijani girl and fucking, and the Indian girl. Oh, she loved the Indian girl. So she was trying to talk the Indian girl out of fucking liking the white dude. She's like, he's just trying to fuck you, and he has this Russian girl. She's like, no, no, and she thinks that she can get him to date her. And the Boston girl's trying to convince the Indian girl not to fucking give it up, because the Sacramento kid keeps, like, he's telling me too, and he's open. He's just saying, like, he's open with me. He's not an asshole. Well, it depends on how you define asshole. But he's being open with her, like, look, I'm not trying to date you, but I think that we should fuck. And then he's trying to convince her that, like, if he fucks her in the ass, it doesn't count as her losing her virginity. And I'm not sure. Some of those girls claim that they're a virgin and they're not, but she seemed super innocent. And she was really, they would just make out, heavy petting and make out. And it was a joke. They'd be in like one of the hostel rooms, heavy petting and making out. He'd be trying to fuck her, and she's like, no, no. And he'd be telling me, he's like, dude, fuck her. And like, she won't let me. I keep trying. And I'm like, dude, but what about your girl? He's like, it's just something to do. It's just whatever. All his girls in Russia. And so there was this one night that I thought was hilarious. We all got drunk. And yeah, I would come home when I had like a decent paycheck and come home with beers and shit. 40s and like pass them around. Or no, High Life. I like the High Life. The tall boys or the 32 ounce. And we're all getting rowdy. And that's what like the salt of the earth type people maybe. And then fucking, I took the Boston girl. I knew she was fucking into me because it's hard like being in that level of society. She just had a bunch of assholes after her, not nice guys. So she always was trying to like let me know that the door was open. If I wanted something, I was always like, nah, trying to be a homie, because I'd rather be a homie for her. But one night, we got liquored up good, and the Indian girl and the Sacramento guy are on the top bunk, and they're doing the same shit. She's just teasing the fuck out of him, giving him blue balls. And so I take the fucking Boston girl, and I'm like, yo, let's show him how it's done. And we get into the bottom bunk, and we actually like start going at it. I had a condom, and I fucking threw it on. Some of the times in my life, I was smart about that shit. And the Boston girl didn't need fucking she didn't need me to tell her twice. She was fucking downer than down. We jumped into it, and we started. But it was one of those things I didn't even finish. I like started, and you heard the fucking Sacramento guy and the Indian girl on the top bunk being like, are they having sex? And we're fucking shaking that fucking bunk from the bottom. And I was like, let's show them what's up. Someone's getting fucked today in this hostel. And then they're like, really? And I was just laughing so hard I stopped. That's what drunken Chaz is, just like, I'd do anything for attention. And there was more, and then I stopped because it's like, I didn't want to like she was like, no, you don't gotta stop. I was like, no, we're not supposed to. I don't know if that's worse or better, but we stayed friends. We never really had a bad moment between us. She even told me recently, she was one of my landing spots. If my parents or anyone else couldn't take me in, I have these people in my life who like would always keep the door open. She was telling me she's living by the beach. She has a great setup. She fucking, yeah. That's, she's a good person. There's a lot of love there between us. But then also, that's why I wouldn't just make her a fuck buddy, or I just wouldn't. Some of those things I respect. But that's a funny story, I think, for us. It might not be a funny story when I tell it, but it's a memory, and these are my memories. So yeah, it's my homies. You have memories like that, just hilarious fucking doing great, like me trying to give all the girls in the hostel massages. That's not Shaz, then David. And yeah, I don't think there's any other girl that I actually got with in those hostels. There's this one girl who came through who was in between apartments. She had like a fucking, I don't even I she was shaped. She had a shape on her. She's like one of those girls who goes to the gym, but they only work on one thing, and you know what that one thing is because it's in your face every single. She's like, where's the Wi-Fi password? And then she turns around to the room, and then she's reaching up to try to fucking see it, and it's like up on the wall, so she has to like stand up on something to see it, and she kind of like just bends over. But she was like, there's like hourglass, and then there's hour goddamn. She was, but no, she hit me with something. I was talking to her. I was trying to like work something up with her, but she had some ex who was always coming by in his Mustang, checking in on her. He knew what was up. There's probably like anyone who has a pretty girl knows that like if she's out there in the wild, she's probably getting nibbles from the other fish. So he'd come by, pick her up, trying to get back with her, and she's like, that's why she was staying in the hostel instead of with him. It was like a halfway house for people too. I don't know how people found this old Russian lady, but it was a fucking crazy place. And so I was talking to her, but I didn't quite know. So she was like too cool because she was born and raised Brooklyn, and like even Shot was like a little bit dorky like me, but this girl was like straight street. She was I think Italian or some shit, but she was like So I was talking to her a little bit too much. Like I think like the window was open or the door was open, and then closed. It's like I should have like I didn't have any money in my pocket at the time. Didn't have the ability to take her out or do something. It's like shit or get off the pot. Like this girl, that's why she like the guy with the Mustang. Like she was like some girls are like that. Like show them why you're valuable or important. Don't come to them with nothing. Take them somewhere nice. Show them something nice. I had a girl who fucking really liked crystals, really like Swarovski, whatever the fuck you call it, crystals. But I didn't get her any, but she liked him. That's what type of girl she was. But I'm not the type of dude who's about to buy some girl crystals. But like we'll go out somewhere nice and shit. But yeah, she called me an herb. Or she didn't call me an herb. She was like, what? Don't be an herb or something. I was like, what the fuck? An herb? Fucking East Coast slang is that. I've heard it from hip hop and shit. But like, we never use that shit. We just heard like, what the fuck's an herb? But she was like, you trying to act like an herb or some shit? Basically like a dork or like, she was basically like approaching women, some type of women. It's like you either know how or you don't, but they ain't gonna explain it to you. So like, if you're smooth and you're cool, you have a vibe, and you guys are talking a certain way, and things are connecting, and it's gonna escalate from like this to like doing something to whatever, and then there's gonna be physical contact, and everything's just assumed, and they're going back to your place, you're going back to theirs or something. But if you have to break it down, or you have to be too analytic, or if you're like qualifying too much or this and that, you break the whole magic, and then they're just like, don't be a dork. I think I was sweating her too much about that dude. Like, who's that dude coming around? It's like, that ain't, no, you're not supposed to worry about that. You're supposed to do you, put your time in, try to prove that you're worth her company, and then she'll fucking give it to you. But me trying to qualify the other dudes in her life is me projecting my insecurities. And a girl who is used to being approached by confident dudes is gonna smell that shit quick. Fucking smell the insecurity on you like a stink bomb. So she sniffed me out. I think I could get her now, but that's what the dancer girl was like, as confident a girl as I've been with. But some of that was luck too. I just was on one that day. That day I went out like I'm just gonna fucking meet someone. And sometimes you feel that. Sometimes you feel like this is my day, and you just go out with that purpose. And when I fucking saw her at the pool, I saw her ass first, like laying down on fucking suntanning. And it was one of those things where it's like, that's nice. And then I sat, and she was sitting right next to me, so I sat down, and soon we started a convo. And I just I took a picture. I put my hat I was wearing on her, took a picture, and I was like, what's your number? I'm going to send this to you. Boom. Got her number, and we're done with stage one. And then it took me a while to get, like, we hung out, That wasn't a bad, She, and she still wasn't going to the party with me, because I still hadn't fucking proven I was worth her time, because she's still pulled in so many different directions. And now she's dating some chick. She's now, which is actually chiller of her, fucking cool down with the dudes. But, dating some little French girl, which is cool. She needs to figure out who she is and what she wants. But she needs to do whatever the fuck she wants. We just might not be compatible. It doesn't mean we can't be friends. That's what it is. Don't try to fit people into boxes in your life. Just accept them for who they are. Be honest with yourself, Shaz. Anyways, I think I talked up the energy of that hostel well. And then I'm going to try to walk from that hostel over to Thompson Street now.